Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, and thank you for joining us once again, TheModenstersOfGaming. I'm KaijuK, continuing my coverage of my top 10 Fakemon from fan-made video games. Now, last time we dealt with flying types. This time we're going to go with a little bit of a more sinister approach with ghost types. I loved ghost types in the original game. In fact, my biggest disappointment was when I originally had the game, there weren't a lot of people around the area that I lived in that could trade, so I never actually got a Gengar without using a Game Shark code. Or was it Game Genie? Game Genie, no. But still, ghost types are awesome. They're the only Pokemon in the game that really have any kind of advantages over normal and fighting types, as they're completely immune to all of their attacks. This is really cool because, you know, my Haunter helped me take down Snorlax first chance it got, so there's always that. Ghost types are weak against dark types, which doesn't make a lot of sense if you ask me, and psychic types. I guess psychic types towards psychic mediums being a big thing, but I don't understand dark types, seeing as most ghost types tend to be from dark areas, dark improved locations, like deep inside of tombs or inside of a Pokemon graveyard or something like that, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Plus, a lot of ghost types are only catchable at night. But, hey, teach their own, I guess. So, let's get this started off with our very first Pokemon. The Pokemon that gives Cofferigus a run for its money. I'll show you Pharobe. As you can see, Pharobe comes from Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark. It is the Mummy Pokemon, and its special abilities are Sturdy and Mummy. Surprise, surprise. It's a pure ghost type that has a Pokédex entry reading, Pharobe was once the servant to Egyptian kings. Now they are regarded as kings of the pyramids. So, when we go down to his statistics, if you look at Cofferigus next to him, Cofferigus is definitely better in the defense category and has a better special attack, while Pharobe, on the other hand, has better health and a better overall base stats, including his speed, which is a lot higher than Cofferigus's. His weaknesses are ghost and dark types. Ironically, ghost types can also be hurt by their own type. The only other Pokemon that shares this similarity is dragon types. But the difference is, ghost types aren't super weak against friggin' fairies. So, skipping ahead, as far as the move pool goes, he doesn't have a lot of room. He's got a lot of the standard Haunter family ghost type attacks. Shadow Punch, Shadow Sneak, Dream Eater, Hypnosis, Ominous Wind. He does gain Ring Out, which, if used at the right time, is really good. And he also learns Pain Split, which is an underutilized move. By Move Tutor, he can gain some better moves, though. He gains Ancient Power. He has all three of the Elemental Punches, Icy Wind, Iron Head, Knock Off, Pain Split again, Snore, in case you want to do like a rest combo with them. There's his original form, which is Raffro, or Raphro. I don't know how to say it, I'm just going to say Raffro. Sounds like Scooby-Doo. And Pharobe, which is his form now. Now, believe it or not, Pharobe is based off of a mummy. Yeah, surprisingly. But Pharobe's name combination is the words Pharaoh and the word robe. And ironically, in German, Pharobe is the exact same. Yeah, that's always cool. Now, he doesn't have the highest stats, but you can get him at a relatively early area. With Mummy, you can really screw over a lot of opponents that use moves that require them, or use combinations like those that have Drought suddenly become Sunny Day, or suddenly become Mummy, or those with huge power suddenly become Mummy, so they lose that huge power bonus. I like to play him like I would have played my Gengar, which would be giving him Hypnosis and Dream Eater to stall the opponent out and give him some kind of healing. Shadow Claw for the Stab Ghost attack. Brick Break for taking down those really annoying Dark-type Pokemon that are going to come after you. I like to give him a Black Belt to give him more power towards Brick Break. Brick Break is just a useful move, especially when you're dealing with a set of Pokemon that comes out and drops like Light Scream and Barrier, and suddenly it's like, oh, now you're only doing half the damage. Just punch it through with Brick Break, and that changes everything. Okay, next up is a Delta-type Pokemon. As we all know, they're Pokemon that have their types changed. So from Pokemon Insurgents, we have Delta Liepard. Now, the funny thing is, his design is really, how do I put it, confusing. He looks like he has feathers, fur, and scales. His tail kind of looks like, well, if you could get a good view on it, it looks like it's got like a snake holding on to the scythe blade to his tail. It's got some drab colors up until that tail, which has some really colorful, bright colors. He is a Ghost Fairy type. His Pokédex entry reads, a Delta species Pokemon that uses illusions and trickery to catch its prey. Gains access to Illusion, Unnerve, and Bulletproof. Now, Bulletproof is one of those moves that a lot of people kind of throw off to the side, but it just absorbs so much damage. There's just so many different attacks that it can just steal from. Like, you're not going to hit by Shadow Ball, you're not going to get hit by Sludge Bomb, because you're actually just immune to them, which gives this Ghost Fairy type the advantage, because a lot of people like to use Sludge Bomb on you as an attack, and you're just protected from it with that. Statistically, its defenses are lacking, its health is lacking, but it's got good everywhere else. You could play this as a physical attacker, you could play this as a special attacker, and it's got pretty high speed. Its weaknesses are Ghost and Steel types. Now, of course, you can cover Ghost types, but unfortunately you can't cover Steel types with this typing. His move pool has some unique moves in it. You can learn, like, Clear Smog, which is another one of those moves that I feel is underutilized. Shadow Claw, Moon Blast, Nasty Plot, Phantom Force, and Play Rough, just to mention a few. It can also learn Perish Song, so with its low stats, if you know you're going to get taken down by somebody, you could always just throw up a Perish Song real quick and take them with you. As a Delta Pokemon, it cannot be bred. There's Delta Purloin and then Delta Liepard. Delta Liepard is based on Nu in Japanese mythology. Additionally, its tail is based on the Nu Hoju from Toho Project. It's a shiny color. Its shiny color is based on the Mamazao Futasiwa from the same series. Delta Liepard, along with its pre-evolution Delta Purloin, has a unique type combination. It does, up until Mimikyu came out. And as you can see, its regular form is okay. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get the shiny form, but the shiny form is just kind of a pinkish red form. It's not nearly as colorful. As far as Delta Liepard goes, I like to play it with Bulletproof equipped. I like to give it the access to Play Rough and Phantom Force for stab bonuses. I also like to give it access to Night Slash for a little bit of coverage against, probably a psychic type that runs out of nowhere. And I like to teach it Coil, which will boost its defense, attack, and accuracy, giving you a huge advantage as in an early way to boost yourself up to hit with an even harder attack, while being able to absorb some damage. I give it the Shell Bell equipment, so it can heal itself. And overall, I think this Pokemon really fits the bill. Liepard was a good Pokemon, all in all. I just think Delta Liepard is just that much better. Moving on. For Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark, we have Syphoon, the Typhoon Pokemon. Syphoon the Typhoon, huh? It's a Ghost Flying type, which has access to Unburden, Insomnia, and Magic Guard. Its Pokédex entry reads, Syphoons are rather calm, but when angry, they can become destructive. The Typhoons they create can level large cities. That's pretty scary, actually. Now, statistically, you're going to notice that HP, attack, and defense are not its friends. But special attack, special defense, and definitely speed are. It can outspeed a lot of Pokemon. Unfortunately, one of its main weaknesses, which is rock types, are usually physical, as are dark types. It also has weaknesses to ghost, electric, and ice types. Now, once again, this is leveled up by using a stone, so of course it doesn't get any new moves. I never figured out why they did that. It just seems like a waste of time. But it does gain access to Aeroblast, which at one time was a signature move of only Lugia. As you've seen in the past 2 videos, though, it's on a lot of Pokemon. You can gain access to a lot of moves, Heat Wave, Icy Wind, Aqua Tail, Tailwind for boosting up the team, and even Uproar. There's its evolutionary grouping, Ciceril, and Syphoon. And its names are a combination of Sylph and Typhoon. Maybe it's Syphoon. Huh. Maybe another day I'll figure that one out. Okay, well, playing this guy is pretty interesting. He's a high-speed monstrosity who hits really hard against everything that isn't a special wall. I like to give him Aeroblast and Shadow Ball. Sorry, I put down Shadow Blast for some reason. Shadow Ball, just making sure there wasn't a signature move I forgot about. For coverage, Thunderstrike for a little bit of extra damage outside of the key, as well as the chance to confuse. Calm Mind to boost its special attack and special defense like it really needs it. A Shell Bell for healing. I would probably EV train it in health and defense so I could let it become a more livable Pokemon. And if you do that, the Shell Bell could probably be traded out for leftovers. Oh, there's Lightning Strike in case you all forgot about it. It's from Pokemon Soul Light Lunar Dark only. It is a lightning electric type that deals 10% chance of confusing the target. I was about to go up to the next one and I forgot I had pages open. So this is Spirix. Now Spirix is a normal ghost type, which gives it a shite ton of advantages over standards. Of course, unfortunately, it's another Stone Evolution Pokemon, so you kind of have to get its moves from the previous form. It has access to Quick Feet, Insomnia, and Illusion. Its Pokedex entry reads, Spirix can see into a person's soul and know whether they are worthy or not. If not, they will attack in order to escape. Statistically, it's a pretty beastly Pokemon. Its health and defense are okay. Just short of a 70 average, in my opinion. They've got good attack, good special defense. And then they've got great speed and great special attack. This all leads up to another one of their great advantages, their weaknesses. They have 3 different immunities and only 1 weakness to dark types. Which, I really wish there was a way you could cover it with Spirix, but unfortunately Spirix doesn't learn any type of attacks that are strong against dark types. So you just gotta be careful of those. Once again, Wonder Room, Grudge, Hyper Voice, Ominous Wind, and Dazzling Gleam are all moves that it can learn. Dazzling Gleam's an interesting one you could really throw in there. Oh wait, no, never mind. I just remembered it can learn a move that's strong against dark types. It can learn U-Turn, and it can learn Signal Beam. Jeez, I'm off today. I've been off for a couple days recently. I'm actually just getting over having like a week's worth of not sleeping in this town. Move list, Ancient Power. I've noticed a lot of Pokemon have access to Ancient Power. It's almost as bad as Hidden Power. Gravity, Icy Wind, Knockoff, Ominous Wind. There's Signal Beam right there. There's its 2 forms, which is Parafox and Spirix. Its name origin comes from the word spirit and fox. Design-wise, I think it's a little bland, and I think that the Parafox form is a lot cuter. And I mean, if it wasn't for the low stats, I'd probably stick with that. Although you could probably run him with an Eviolite like that. Spirix is a normal ghost type, makes it really hard for you to hit it with standard type moves, because a lot of the standard type moves are either just effective against it, resistant to it, or don't even affect it. I give it Illusion to throw my foes off, probably making it look like an enemy that would be weak against ghost or fighting type moves. I would teach it Hyper Voice and Shadow Ball for stab, Signal Beam for getting rid of those really nasty dark types, Calm Mind to boost its special attack and defense, and a Shell Bell to heal it. Sorry. I mean, overall, its design isn't that bad. Statistically, it's pretty good. And having very, very few weaknesses just makes it all the better. I just wish they hadn't made moves like Bite dark types, because almost every Pokemon with a mouth can learn Bite. Now up to another interesting one. This is Scrow. Scrow comes from Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark. And as you can see, he's a Scarecrow. He's a Ghost Grass type that has access to Shadow Tag, but it also has access to its own special move, Scarecrow. Scarecrow makes the bearer completely immune to flying type attacks. That's really interesting. There's no other Pokemon I've run into that has just pure immunity to flying type attacks. And basically what it does is it turns moves like Aero Blast, Air Cutter, and even the Mighty Dragon Ascent into just hit me if you can, brother. Hang on a second. Bloody hell, Reaper. Legends say that Scrow was a Scarecrow made by a man that owned a farm. An accident happened, and the man's spirit took over the Scarecrow, becoming this Pokemon. Give me 2 seconds. Unprofessional of me here, but unfortunately Reaper is barking at me, so I gotta get onto this real quick. I'm so sorry about this, folks. Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying. Now, Scrow's statistics are very odd. It's got good attack, good speed, decent health, decent special attack, and then its defenses really kind of fall flat. I know it has several immunities, but I mean, really, they really could have designed this guy a little better. He has a 468 type coverage, and he's got no other evolutions. Like, they could have given him a little bit more, especially in the defenses department, or maybe the health department. His weaknesses, even... damn. Even though it says that flying type's a weakness, if you give him Scarecrow, it becomes... Oh, I forgot to turn the volume down. Okay. Bloody hell. I am... No, I didn't mean... Swing better. There we go. Yeah, where was I? Yeah, so Ghost, Fire, Ice, and Dark types are its weak points. Now, as far as the move pool goes, it gains access to some pretty standard moves that you would expect a Grass type and a Ghost type to learn. It gains access to moves Vine Whip, it gains access to Nightshade, Ominous Wind, Destiny Bond, Leaf Blade, Grass Whistle, Shadow Ball, Power Whip, and even Trick or Treat, which is a really cool move nowadays, now that I actually know what it does. For those of you who don't have a 100% clue of what it does, it basically takes your opponent and turns them into a pure Ghost type, which makes their weaknesses to your attacks all the much better. By a move tutor, it can learn it gains access to moves like Fury Cutter, Heat Wave, Knockoff, Mud Slap, Synthesis, which is pretty cool, and even Thunder Punch. So it can cover a lot of elemental ground. The Scarecrow replaced another Pokemon from this game that was called Hollow Pump, and its name is a corruption of the word Scarecrow. Now, like I said, his stats aren't the best, but with the right immunities and the right abilities, you can make him pretty powerful. Give him Scarecrow to give him protection from the flying types. Give him Leaf Blade and Shadow Claw for stab bonuses. Now, here's where I have my combination problem. I like to either give him Brick Break for taking down dark types, or I like to also give him Trick or Treat so I can turn my opponent into a Ghost type. Either way works, I guess, and then give him Sword Dance to boost his attack power, and a Shell Bell to heal him. His design is simple. His ability is what really makes him for him. I never thought of having an immunity to flying types, but that is pretty cool. You got to admit that. Next up, we have another strange one. This is Antarki. Antarki? Antarki. I'm just going to call it Antarki. It's a dual type. It's a Ghost Fire type from Pokemon Uranium. I've actually never run into this one yet. It has access to Illuminate and Prankster, and its statement is said to be the ghost of a Pokemon that died before its time. It guides lost souls to the afterlife using the light of its small star that it's holding. That's actually its tail and its two arms holding on to the flame while its head sticking over it. Now, I told you he was unusual, and it's actually for a reason. He's unusual because, well, first of all, statistically, he's awesome. He's got great health, good defense, great special defense, and awesome special attack and speed. Where he's unusual, well, I'm just going to skip by it, is if you look at his move pool, he's a Ghost Fire type. I don't see any Fire type moves there. He's one of those damn Pokemon that can't learn a single one of its type moves. I can remember there's another one that was like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Now, weaknesses, though, it's got a few. Ground, Rock, Ghost, Water, and Dark. However, with its statistics, its stats, it can take quite a beating. It can. By Move Tutor, it can learn it can learn Heal Bell and Ominous Wind and Pain Split. It also has access to Tackle, Charge, Zap Cannon, Signal Beam, and Dragon Breath by breeding. There's his little form, and then he's got his regular form, and then his Ultra form, as I like to call it. That looks like he's holding on to like a ball of like nuclear energy or plasma. I think that's pretty cool looking. According to this, he's the mortal enemy of Dromsama, so let's just take a peek at Dromsama real quick, because I don't think I actually have him in the list yet. Oh, okay, yeah, that's Dromsama, okay. I believe I have him in my Psychic series. Oh, jeez, I didn't even let you guys see him. Bloody hell! That's just mean of me. I'm sorry, that's just mean of me. Dromsama's a really cool looking Pokemon. That's him right there, Psychic Ghost type. getting back to where I was. I promise you, folks, I'll be getting back to where I was in a little bit. Come on. Okay, well, also, Antarki is based on a scorpion and a star, more specifically based on Antares, the brightest star in Scorpius. The Scorpion constellation, like Masking and Drama-sama, is also based on a character from Hetofu boyfriend named Nageki, who is a ghost that died in a fire. His name comes from the combination of Antares and Nageki. The more you know. Now, while he can't naturally learn fire attacks, he can learn plenty of them through TMs and HMs. Well, TMs, actually. I like to use his Prankster ability because Illuminate just basically is useless. Unless you're trying to catch Pokemon. He's the Guiding Star Pokemon. He's not the Find Me Now Pokemon. I give him Shadow Ball and Flamethrower for his sad coverage, Energy Ball to take care of a few of his weaknesses, and then Recover because he's one of the few Pokemon I know of that I like who can learn this powerful move. Then give him a weakness policy in case someone smacks you with a weakness, and then just wreck them. Now we'll come to another Pokemon that has an interesting type combination and interesting move base. This is Rottoween. He comes from Pokemon Solar Light and Lunar Dark. He is the Pumpkin Pokemon, and as a Pumpkin Pokemon, you'd think this is a Ghost Grass type, and you'd be wrong. He's a Ghost Bug type. He gains access to abilities Cursed Body, Natural Cure, and Flash Fire. All of them are really, really cool abilities. And, of course, his Pokedex entry reads, this Pokemon lives in the darkest woods and absorbs body fluids of already dead bodies. So he's more of a fungus than anything. Scrolling down. Now, his stats are where it's at, too. He's got great stats. For a Ghost type, his stats are pretty solid, especially his health. Base 120 health, good attack, special defense. He's an all-around block hitter. He can cover a lot of ground. His speed is the only thing he's failing at with a speed of 60. Weakness-wise, he's got weaknesses to Flying, Rock, Ghost, Fire, and Dark types. Now, his move list is also where it's kind of funky. He gains access to Grass-type moves, along with the aforementioned Bug-type moves. He also gains Ghost, and a Fire-type move if you really want to teach him Will-O-Wisp, which actually makes a lot of sense, seeing as he's inside of a pumpkin. The whole Jack-o'-lantern idea kind of makes that work out. Trying to do something... There we go. There you go, Reaper. Just, yeah. Reaper has this funny habit of just showing up out of the blue sometimes, so I gotta kind of tell her that, hey, I'm kind of in the middle of a recording here. If you're gonna come over, you know, just kind of keep it down for a few minutes. She might even just walk right in the room for all I know. By Move Tutor, though, there's a lot of cool moves in here. Ominous Wind, Iron Defense, Bug Bite, an underutilized move, even Synthesis and Worry Seed. I love Worry Seed. You can screw an opponent over bad with Worry Seed by turning them into an Insomniac and keeping them from being able to use Rest. Now, it starts off as Hollow Weed over here, then it becomes Hollow Kin, and then finally Rottoween with a Darkstone. Rottoween and its previous its pre-evolutions are the first Ghost Bug types since Shedinja. Or Shedinja. I'm just going to call him Shedinja. And his combination is from the words Rotten and Halloween. Now, that's pretty cool, but his moves are where it gets even cooler. Due to the fact that he's both a physical fighter and a special fighter, you can mix this guy really well. I like to give him Leech Life and Phantom Force for coverage, healing, and a little bit of evasion. Then I give him Leech Seed to just keep sucking my opponents dry a little more. Then Ancient Power just to throw it out there to take out a few Pokemon that it's weak against. However, the true ability to give him is Flash Fire. Because he's a Bug type, most people will try to use a Fire type, and because he looks like a Plant type, most people will try to use a Fire type. Where Flash Fire will just absorb that and give you a bonus to boot. Well, you could run Cursed Body or Natural Cure as well. Any one of them is perfect. On top of that, I like to give it Leftovers because it has considerable health, and I like to increase its health as much as possible. Now coming up is a very, very odd one, and one where I wrestled for a while. And what that is I hate Charizard, okay? I honestly do. I think he's one of the worst Pokemon ever. He's really, really a stubborn Pokemon. A lot of people like him because, oh, he's one of the originals. He's the mascot of Pokemon Red. He was Ash's Pokemon. Now, he was just a jerk. And other than the one that was controlled by Red that took on Mewtwo, I don't give them any kind of credit at all. However, Delta Series left me with a really bad blow. And that blow is just Delta Charizard. This motherfucker right here is Delta Charizard from Pokemon Insurgents. And he is a beast. This is a ghost dragon type. He's got such a cool design. He's got like a skeletal, his ribcage has like a purple fire in it. It's on his tail. His Mega Evolution looks like it's all just like pure purple fire. And it gains access to two special abilities of its own, Spirit Call and Noctum. Now what Spirit Call is it's basically Blaze for ghost type moves. When your health is below 1/3, the ghost type move's power increases by 1.5. He also gains access to Nocturne in his Mega Evolution. What this does is it brings in darkness. Now, what darkness is also known as New Moon. This was used earlier, but what it is it boosts Ghost and Dark type moves 35%, decreases Fairy types by 25%, allows Lunar Cannon, Phantom Force, and Shadow Force to be used instantly instead of having to wait a turn. The abilities Shadow Dance and Healophilia are activated. It reduces the healing power of Synthesis, Morning Sun, and Moonlight. It reduces the power of Freezing Shock. It increases the power of Surf, and it boosts the effects of Hone Claws by 2 stages instead of 1. Now, all that being thrown together, I'm not even at the part that makes it like terrifying. Stat-wise, he's a beast. He's got overall good stats in every department. He doesn't really have a flawed stat, which of course makes me kick myself even more because this is a Charizard we're talking about. In his Mega form, I believe it says in the bottom he has the exact same stats as Charizard. Why? Just better typing. His weaknesses, if you want to say that, you can get rid of Ghost and Dragon right off the bat because you can use both Ghost and Dragon type attacks, leaving him weak to Ice, Dark, and Fairy types, but immune to Normal and Fighting types. His move list is just a hodgepodge of I'm going to destroy you with everything I've got. These moves are beastly, and just Shadow Ball and Lunar Cannon alone are worth it. Dragon Rush and Dragon Pulse are also very powerful. Once again, he's a Delta type, so he doesn't get anything from evolutions. His original form is really cute and terrifying at the same time. Delta Charmander looks like a little skeletonized Charmander. Delta Charmeleon starts to look badass, and Delta Charizard looks like Ripley from Metroid. Now, if you thought his original form was bad, his shiny form makes him look like some kind of infernal demon, and it's just so cool looking. As far as his Mega Evolutions go, as you can see, just burst out flames, and even cooler. I don't know, I like both forms. I even have some fan art here from, let's see here, this is Milliful, Silent Hydra, Fluffy Chikorita, Snowbound Becca, and finally, Blekotorva. I'm probably butchering the hell out of these names. Delta Charizard, and by extension Charizard, Typhlosion, and their respective evolutionary lines have the exact same base stats. Mega Delta Charizard has the highest base stat total of all non-legendary Ghost-type Pokemon, and yes, it has the exact same base stats as Charizard Y. Now, this dreadful demon can learn a lot of cool moves, but 2 in particular are what you got to look out for. First, I like to teach him Shadow Ball and Dragon Pulse for stab bonuses. I have to have him hold Delta Charizard tight so that he can become Mega Delta Charizard. On top of that, he can learn Lunar Cannon, which is a powerful Dark-type attack, but thanks to his Noctum ability, allows him to use it every turn instead of having to charge. And then Dragonfly. Now, Dragonfly is a terrifying move. Basically, what it does is it changes your opponent into a pure Dragon type. Yes, this is the Trick-or-Treat version for dragons. Knowing that, and the fact that he has access to Dragon Pulse and a very high amount of damage, this just makes him that much more terrifying. I don't know what I say, other than the fact that he's just so cool looking, and he makes me weep that Charizard couldn't be this cool. But let's move on to a few more. We're down to our last 2. The first up is my favorite horse Pokemon of all time, and one of my favorite Ghost types. This is Fantasmare from Pokemon Sage. First of all, just looking at it, this Pokemon is awesome. Its Pokedex entry reads, Fantasmare wanders in the mountains and the hills where it stalks lone travelers. It is said to haunt the dreams of those who have seen it. So obviously, this is probably the creepiest and most evil Pokemon on the list so far, with access to 2 abilities, Perforate and Cursed Body. Now, Perforate is where he starts to really shine. Perforate is a move that's only used by two different families of Pokemon, Squidrift and Coltergeist. What this does is any type that matches their own type, in other words, Ghost type's Ghost type attacks, or a Poison type attacks, ignore an opponent's immunities to them and become 1x effective. This means that you can use Ghost type moves on fighting types, you can use Ghost type moves on normal types, you can use Poison type moves on Steel types, Ground type moves on Air types, etc., etc. Statistically, he's also pretty beasty. He's got pretty good stats in every department except for his attack, and he's got a pretty decent speed. He's weak to 2 types, which are Ghost and Dark, and he gains access to a lot of cool moves. Early on, he can learn Flame Charge, he has access to Nightshade, there's Stomp, Will-O-Wisp, Hex, even Hypnosis. He gains Bounce, which everyone knows is my favorite physical flying type move, and then Terrorize. For those of you who don't remember what Terrorize was, Terrorize is a super powerful Ghost type move that has a 10% chance to confuse, but only 70% accuracy. He also gains access to some other ones, like you could teach him Double Kick for some surprise normal type fighting type damage, Mean Look, Shadow Sneak. The other thing is his unevolved form, Coltergeist, is so cute looking, and then he just goes from cute looking to badass in a split second. The Fantasmare may be based on the Puka, a ghost horse of Celtic folklore. It is also based off of the pun that it is literally a nightmare, i.e. a ghostly horse. And Fantasmare's name is a combination of the word phantasm and the word mare for a female horse, although it could also be for a combination of phantasm and nightmare, aka the species of ghost horses that elude many Pokemon, just crush a lot of people in D&D. Wow, I had a brain fart right there. Now, most of the time I'd say, hey, now's the time to give this guy a Shell Bell, but I wouldn't. I would give him Perforate, and then I would definitely give him Terrorize. I would give him Hypnosis and Dream Eater because it says they haunt the dreams, so that's a pretty cool move. And Nasty Plot to boost his special attack. With his good stats all around, you can actually play him a bunch of ways, but this is just how I would play him. Once again, everyone is able to play the Pokemon however they want, and I'm no exception. Now, last up is the last Pokemon on the list. It's my number 1. This Pokemon comes from Pokemon Sage, and this is Fumighast. Fumighast is the Miasma Pokemon. It is a Poison Ghost type, which has access to the abilities Pollution and Aftermath. Now, Pollution is a special ability that's only used by Fumighast, and it summons an Acid Rainstorm that damages all Pokemon except Poison and Steel types by 1/16 their maximum HP at the end of each turn. So basically, it's Hail. Fumighast also has, bizarre stats. He's got some of the lowest health I've ever seen a fully evolved Pokemon have, as well as some pretty okay speed and attack. But he definitely has good defensive stats. EV training it in health and speed would probably be the best thing you could do with it. Now, weakness-wise, it has weaknesses to Ground, Ghost, Psychic, and Dark. And its move list is mostly Poison and Ghost-type moves. As you can see, Shadow Ball, Terrorize, Acid Spray, another underutilized move, and it even learns Acid Rain itself. Now, the thing is that Move Tutor doesn't teach it all that much, but it does teach it Gunk Shot and Knockoff, and Recycle if you want to play like a Recycle Lumberry combo. By breeding, it can gain access to Clear Smog, Cross Poison, and even Ominous Wind, but its prior evolutions are the coolest part. Now, how it evolves is that level 22, if it's holding a Burn Heal, it becomes Noxiel, the blue version, or the one that gains Ice-type attacks. Where if it's holding a Ice Heal, it instead gains the Fire type. Now, the other side of the coin is that it has to evolve back, so at level 36, you just give it the opposite item. AKA, if it was originally holding the Burn Heal, you give it an Ice Heal, and vice versa. But either way, it learns some powerful moves. You can learn Frost Breath, Blizzard, Ice Beam, Powdered Snow. You can learn Flamethrower and Fire Blast, all from its previous evolutions. The Flask evolutionary line originally contained UFOs in their design. The Diloid, Flax, and Vectol lines were the last evolutionary lines to be confirmed. The final design for Noxeal was made by a different artist than the designs for Flask and Fumighast. Both artists also created designs for other Pokemon in the evolutionary line, which lost the other artists' designs. The rejected Fumighast design, which went with the confirmed Noxeal, has 2 heads and requires evolving both forms of the Noxeal together in order to evolve. That would have sucked. Fumighast is based off of a haunted chemistry stat, and its name is a combination of Fumigate, Gas, and Ghastly. Oh, see, Ghastly's there too. Now, other than needing to definitely give this guy some points in his health and his speed, Fumighast is an absolute beast. With Pollution, he's constantly doing damage to opponents out in the field. I would teach him Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb for stab coverage. I would also teach him Ice Beam for just to throw it out there so ground types can get a little bit of level too. Drain Punch for extra healing, and a Black Belt to boost Drain Punch. He's got a really cool design. He's got a really cool way of evolving. He's got a really cool ability. He's got a really cool amount of abilities he can learn. And Fumighast is just it. He's just such a cool Pokemon that he just deserves his own spot here at number 1, in my opinion. Is he the strongest of the groups? No. Is he probably the best? No. But you know what? I just like him. Screw it. My top 10 list, right? And I'm sure if you guys have your own top 10 Fakemon, or Fakemon I didn't put in here, I'll put it down in the description below. But that pretty much covers my top 10 Ghost-type Fakemon. It was a challenge here because I actually had a lot of Fakemon from the Ghost-type branch, but the real challenge comes next. I'm going to bring in out Grass types, and I have like 40 of them that I have to go through to knock it down to 10. So, until next time, I'm KaijuK, and from the Modensters of Gaming, thank you for watching, have a good day, and we'll see you in the future. Peace out, everybody.